Well, here we go. Monday night, we are live on YouTube. We want to say thank you to Tony Campos and the team at CVTV, where we are tonight, broadcasting live. Your local cable channel 192 and 194. Get yourself dialed into the community, CVTV723.org. Aired out tonight with Sue Minter, the executive director of Capstone. Sue, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks Great to be here, airing out.
Yeah, and last time you were here, we were talking about Wheels for Warmth, which was a
fantastic success. We had a great turnout, so many volunteers, so many people bringing their tires, and, of course, so many people getting safe tires for their cars and raising money for people who need extra heat in the winter.
A lot of us do, and we're going to be talking about that tonight. Fuel Your Neighbors is the program that kicks off tomorrow, which we're going to get to. That is Giving Tuesday.
That's right. Tomorrow is an important day for all kinds of organizations, and I am here to tell you why we want Capstone to be on the list for Fuel Your Neighbors. Absolutely.
Before we go there, I have to ask, do we have any totals for this year's Wheels for Warmth? I know we were right up against $500,000 over the last... How many years?
15.
15, okay.
So this year, statewide, and remember there's 3 different sites where this is happening, we raised over $60,000 in that one day. Incredible.
One day. Not even one day.
Really, one morning.
I mean, couple hours.
You know, people did do drop-offs on other days and other weekends, but really it all comes to roost when people are buying those tires at affordable prices and getting safe tires on their cars and keeping tires out of the waterways and, of course, raising money for organizations like Capstone that help keep people warm throughout the winter.
Absolutely. You know, I had a $100 bill in my pocket, and my tires were $80. Just gave the 100, you know. You know where your money's going. But, I mean, think about it. I mean, even $100 for 4 tires that I got, which were virtually brand
unused,
new. Yeah, I mean.
People got great deals.
Oh, my God.
You know, everybody's there, and it's a fun day.
Oh, yeah, it was. it was a beautiful morning. I got there, I want to say, around 20 of 5, thinking...
You'd be the first one?
I'm going to be close to being the first one. I think I counted right around 50 people in line.
I heard they were starting since 3 in the morning. I don't know if that's exaggeration,
totally
but you know, you're saying it.
Yeah.
But by 7, when we actually opened, the line went all the way out.
Sure it did.
To the 3 Mile Road.
I timed myself, and everyone was so respectful. It was amazing. You know, it was like 7 o'clock. The line started to move. By 8 minutes after 7, I was in my car.
Really? You got your tires that fast?
8 minutes. 8 minutes.
You must have been running.
Well, I knew exactly, what I wanted, and everything was so well organized and labeled. You knew exactly where to go, and it really wasn't mayhem. I mean, people are moving.
This year I think what made a difference was incredible volunteers, and we had the cadets.
Yeah, we did.
And the women's hockey team, Norwich Women's Hockey. And by the way, January 5th, Capstone's going to have a big crowd there.
Yes.
So we'll have to roast that one up soon. But that is to see the women's hockey game in order to be their best fans.
Yeah.
But they were fans for us, and along with the cadets, I think it was really well organized, and everyone had a partner to get those tires out with. And honestly, we thought we'd be burning up the grill at noon or 11. By 10 o'clock, it was peaking.
Yeah.
And Gov came and said, let's fire up those grills.
Absolutely.
So people were...
the other thing is that's part of the reason why it took me 8 minutes to get in and get out. And engine running, driving at 8 minutes after with these 4 beautiful tires in my car. But part of the reason why I got them so fast is because 2 girls from the hockey team that were like, no. They came over, grabbed these 2 tires. They each took 2. And I felt horrible. I mean, I'm walking to my car.
No, they were into it. They were
but
so
they
into
loved
it. They loved it.
They're like, where's your car? Right there. And they were like, unlock it. Bang, in the car. It was incredible. It was incredible.
And then the people donating again and again. huge piles of tires, good ones.
Yeah, really good.
And, and then, by the way, if you end up going there later, unlike you,
Yes.
if you're past the peak, they start going a half price.
Right.
So people got even better deals.
Now, was the whole half price concept, was that a Wabi's World type of?
I think that is a Wabi's World thing, yeah.
That was the inception of it?
Well, at a certain point, you're trying to move the tires. And the truth
Sure.
is we don't move them all out.
That's right.
And so we move them out of the waste stream, and they're getting recycled.
Right.
But unfortunately, not everybody gets the tires. So we still need more people to come. And so when you do the fire sale half price, more people are coming.
That's right.
Some people are waiting for that. In fact, some people
Good point.
hang out and
Yep.
they eye their tires.
Yep.
And they know
Yep.
that it's going to go. And,
Sure.
good for them.
Yes, absolutely. So $60,000 just from this past year alone from the Mendon location and the Montpelier location.
And the Williston.
And Williston. I forgot about Williston.
Williston.
That's right.
So, and Casella is really critical to all of this and the whole contractor community. But Casella offers tremendous services at no cost.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, they are footing the bill for transporting these tires from the drop-off sites to the location, recycling the tires that are at no cost to all of us. So, I mean, it's just really, it's on their shoulders that we're able to do this thing.
Well, I said it last time when we had Dick Wabi here that Vermont is really a model state for other states to, hey, look what we're doing in Vermont.
I know. You said that, and I thought, he is so right. We should be writing this up and promoting it big time because it is such a win-win-win.
Yeah.
And
it is.
And it's fun.
It's a three-part win. It really is. And I got it, incredible tires for $100. I mean, they're unbelievable.
It is hard to be here with you without Wabi, I will say. I miss Wabi, but
Wabi's, but
my
you and I
phone has
will,
been quiet ever since Wheels for Warmth.
but we'll be able to get a word in edgewise.
This is true.
So let's get into, speaking of heat and heating assistance and Vermonters helping Vermonters. Today, Cyber Monday. Tomorrow, Giving Tuesday. So what is going on with Capstone with that?
I do think it's a great idea to have something after Thanksgiving. I know for myself, I feel such gratitude to have a feast with friends and family. And in the work I do now at Capstone Community Action, I realize that is something to be mighty grateful for because many, many people are without food security, without enough food, and sometimes alone. And in Vermont, in winter, more and more people are living in cold homes.
Yeah.
And so on Giving Tuesday tomorrow, Capstone launches our Fuel Your Neighbors campaign. It's a 100-day campaign throughout the winter to help support our emergency heat and food programs.
What is it, 1 out of 3 Vermonters?
4. Yes.
1 out of 4?
Are hungry. Children. We're talking children. And honestly, it is children and older Vermonters who are the most at risk, both for not adequate food and for not warm enough homes.
I know.
And that's why we do this. And Giving Tuesday is a perfect day to launch. Winter came early. Here it is. I had an amazing drive last night through quite a snowstorm, which, this is the other thing. I love winter. I live here because I love winter. I love everything about winter. But my lens on my appreciation for winter has changed a lot. I will tell you, next week is my 1-year anniversary of starting this job, directing Capstone Community Action, which is absolutely an amazing organization. I'm so honored and privileged to have this opportunity, and I learn every day. I learn about my privilege. I learn about the plight of so many who, our economy is going strong, but a lot of people are being left behind. And we talk a lot about affordability in Vermont.
Yeah, we do.
Half of it is this challenge of affording your food bill, your housing bill, your heating bill in the winter, and your medical bill. And I was talking with folks at our food shelf. So we have really the largest food shelf in all of central Vermont. That's by the amount of people we serve, close to 5,000 in a year. We only allow people to come at most twice a month to get decent food. And here we are in downtown Barrie. We're the only place you can get fresh produce most days. And
through the year.
Yes, throughout the year, all week. But what I'm seeing is more and more people really at our front door at Capstone every day. Our waiting room is filled, sometimes 50 people waiting for our food shelf, waiting for shelter. We do help families in transition out of homelessness and into housing security. And also, more and more now, heating assistance. And it's senior citizens. It's disabled citizens. It's folks who have worked throughout their lives and now are on a fixed income. And with all of these costs, and we hear a lot about medical costs, a family who ended up as grandparents becoming foster parents to their grandchildren. And what that means to be in your 70s and all of a sudden have 3 little kids in your family to feed and keep warm.
I see that all the time, Sue. I'm sure you do, but I see it all the time.
And these are folks who aren't used to asking for help. It's not easy for people to come to our door, although we try to make it a place that respects every single person coming to our door and understands their needs. And they, I think, feel respected, but they don't want to ask for this help, and it is so critical that we're there for them. And so I am thrilled to have this job and see the many ways that our mission is to help people rise out of poverty.
Yeah.
And it begins with helping people find stability in crisis. So Fuel Your Neighbors is about a 100-day campaign to raise $200,000 for our food shelf and our crisis heating program.
So 100 days, so that's going to take us until...
Right to the beginning of March.
Okay.
It's basically throughout the winter months.
Yeah.
Because basically, as fast as we can raise the money, we're spending it on support. Already, we started our crisis fuel program the 3rd week of November. From November 28th till now, we've already served 228 people. We've had 600 inquiries. And people are scared. This is the thing that you don't realize. When I go home to my warm home, I have a wood stove, we crank it up. But if your house is cold and it's starting to blow and the weather report is going to be 2 below, in November, people are calling us because they know their tank is empty, and we help them fill the tank.
Wow. I think there might be somewhat of a misconception at times about what folks need to be eligible for assistance, and just not knowing for sure might prevent them from either picking up the phone or jumping in the car and driving over there to get fuel assistance or food assistance.
Yes. Well, and each person that we serve, I do want everyone to know, is carefully screened. We have to look at their income statements. We have to look at their situation. And every single individual is deserving of the funds. Now, I do want to say that there are some public funds, both federal dollars and state dollars, supplemental fuel supports. And there are very rigid guidelines about who is eligible for those. In fact, it's all based on the federal poverty guidelines.
Sure.
The federal poverty level. And for the supplemental fuel, you're basically eligible if you're at what they call 185% of federal poverty, so just a little above the federal poverty guideline. What does that mean? Well, let's tell you. So for a family of 2, if you earn over $2,000 and $2,600 in a month, you're earning too much money to be eligible for this. So you have to be earning less than $2,600 for a family of 2 to be eligible for that assistance. Now, that is why the money we raise through private philanthropic dollars is so important, because
it's
many,
critical.
many people are not in this extreme poverty, but in fact don't have enough money to fill their tank. So that is the folks that we get to support, because there aren't so many restrictions. The other thing is these publicly funded programs, they might fill up a tank once in a winter, but guess what? That tank comes empty in our long, cold winters in Vermont and in the northern states. It's much more severe. And that's when we can help them. We can't allow them to use any of these public dollars, but the money we raise through Fuel Your Neighbors is going to help people throughout the winter months, which is why we are raising money for that 100 days.
So let's get right to it. How, starting tomorrow, how can folks donate to the Fuel Your Neighbors program?
It's very simple, fuelyourneighbors.org. Please go on and donate. And I want to tell you, this is our 4th year. It was started really a partnership with VSECU. It's powered by VSECU. They're our main sponsor, helping us.
They're tremendous.
They really are.
You talk about a community organization. Man, they are dialed into it.
Mm-hmm. And
Big
they have
time.
been our partner from the get-go with this. And each year we have raised a bit more money. And I will say last year the goal was $100,000 in 100 days. And last winter, you may recall, was also long and
Yes, it
cold. And we saw a 36% increase in people coming for help. Now, I can tell, because we already so early in our season are seeing such a spike, that we are going to have a repeat, which is why I've doubled the goal. I've suggested we double the goal this year. Yeah. And we get special help tomorrow because VSECU and The Alchemist are both helping to match your contribution. So, for example,
Really?
your $25 donation tomorrow on Giving Tuesday becomes a $50 donation, which essentially will feed a family for a week at our food shelf. Your gift of, let's say, $50 then becomes $100, and that can help heat a home for a month. So we really see the value of the dollar. Our sponsors are helping everyone that donates tomorrow on Giving Tuesday to fuelyourneighbors.org will double their donation.
And The Alchemist and VSECU are
Each
responsible
supporting
for this.
us. That's right.
That is incredible.
The Alchemist over the weekend had a big day for us on Saturday where they promoted our work to all of the tourists who were in their tasting room.
Oh, yeah.
And all of the tips from that day are being donated to this same fund. So they've already got us going. They're supporting us by matching gifts tomorrow, both The Alchemist and VSECU, and we are eternally grateful. And they're going to be putting it out on social media, and we hope to make a good lift on Takeoff Day tomorrow.
That is tremendous. And, you know, and if for whatever reason you're watching this podcast later than Tuesday, November 3rd, December 3rd, right?
December. We're in December,
yeah, I know.
JD.
I know.
It happens fast. It's in a blink of an eye.
Please,
the year will be end. The decade will be over.
Yeah, please help out folks here in Vermont, even if you're from out of state. We appreciate it so much. It's so easy to do. Fuelyourneighbors.org. And, of course, if you get on Capstone, you
can always go to capstonevt.org as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is a special link and a special campaign just to be recorded for this 100-day initiative.
100 days and $200,000.
It's a lofty goal. We were able to get above the 100 last year. We had 140, so I said I think we can go even further, and we have to. That's the reality that is greeting me every single day as I get there and see whether it's kids, single moms, seniors, people with disabilities, many, many people really in need of both food and heat.
Now, how does this work with the fuel companies? I would imagine you guys have a pretty good relationship with a few of them.
Absolutely, and actually, the money actually goes directly to them. They are servicing. We essentially support their servicing of the people who need the fuel. So it is all going through the fuel dealers. Wow. Borns, Freds, everybody.
Yeah, they're wonderful. We're chatting with Sue Minter tonight, the executive director of Capstone Community Action, and we should give a shout out to your team. You have a few real great people that are.
Well, you may be surprised to know that we have 140 people who work for Capstone Community Action, and we have a variety of programs. Tonight we are talking about, our food shelf, our crisis fuel program. We have tremendous employees. Sue Rossi runs the fuel program. Dawn Butterfield helps us with the whole housing and fuel and food security. Winona runs our food shelf, but also hundreds of volunteers every day, every week at our food shelf. But the team that I think you work with is our development team, Brian Tagliaferra. We have Yvonne Laurie and Morgan Brown. That's the team that's really pushing so hard to raise $200,000 through fuelyourneighbors.org.
Yeah. Brian's a great guy. I was up there chatting with Brian, and I think, was it Liz?
Liz Sharp. Yeah, I can't wait till you have her on, because she will tell you all about our financial empowerment programs. And really, those are terrific programs that get to the heart of our mission about helping people really become independent and financially secure. Very creative programs, micro business development. I hope you get to interview some of our wonderful stars. Have you heard of Kismet Restaurant in Montpelier?
No.
All right, well, if you go, you're going to eat there, and you're going to be amazed, because she went from our food shelf to our micro business development program to a very successful entrepreneur in downtown Montpelier, Kismet. I want you to meet Kelly from Sunflower Salon in Waterbury, who similarly came in our door wanting to have a better life for herself and her family, and took on getting a whole new business off the ground. It's very successful right in the heart of downtown Waterbury. It's a salon for your hair. It's a clothing, high fashion. I know all about this because I was the model for a fashion show.
Really?
As a fundraiser for the Central Vermont Home Health Hospice. And I got to be the model for Kelly from Sunflower Salon, and I got to know her and her story, and it's really a wonderful thing. And she really recognizes what Capstone was able to do, which was to give her the tools for financial security and success in raising her own business.
And there's another lady that's doing some...
Margaret does all kinds of...
I'm going to get Margaret on.
I
got to get her on. I've chatted with her a little bit, but...
Yes. Man. She is the one who probably is the key to training all kinds of people. And it isn't just micro business development. We do credit counseling. We do money coaching. People who really haven't learned to how to really follow a budget, how to get out of debt, how to establish credit.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it, and there's a lot you can learn, and there's a lot that people learn by coming to Capstone and becoming really clear about their own financial security, and then having savings, developing assets. We have something called the Vermont Matched Savings Program. So if our clients put $1 into savings, we match them dollar for dollar for three key things. For post-secondary education, going to CCV, Vermont Tech, for buying a house. And I'll tell you some incredible stories about people who came homeless, became employed, learned about credit and savings, and are now owning their own home. Just exactly what you want to see, the path to success and independence. And that's what the array of programs that we have at Capstone Community Action offers. And there's also our Community Kitchen Academy, JD.
Yes.
You've got to bring Chef Joey in.
Yes.
Okay,
Joey,
because
please,
Joey is
come
a
on.
star. She is a star. And we've this is really her first class. So the Community Kitchen Academy, folks who are unemployed can join a 12-week class in our industrial kitchen, which is on the backside of our food shelf. And it's a beautiful thing because every day these students, they're learning about food and nutrition and cooking. And every day they're preparing a meal that then gets given out at the food shelf.
What's the cost of that? What's the cost of that course?
That course, we raise the money so that people can be in that course. They can get 9 credits at CCV. They come out with credentials. They come out with a Safe Serve credential. They come out with a bartender's license. They, most importantly, come out with confidence, with the understanding that they have a skill, that they can go get a job. We do internships with them. We do interview planning with them, practicing with them. We develop their resume with them. Every Friday they do computer literacy skills. So they come out, 92% of the people that go through this 12-week Community Kitchen Academy, 92% have a job at the other end. And 3 months down the road, 86% of them are retaining that job. So this is a life changer. It's a game changer, and it's fun. And there's tremendous teamwork and really great life-changing and life skills through this program.
You could go on and start up your own restaurant and
catering
really,
business, and people are doing that.
Right.
One of our students who has actually taken, she's such a promoter, and she works now part-time as the assistant chef during the course, but now she also she runs a wagon, a food wagon at the FARS at the, what is the
in Waterbury?
Yes.
FARS Field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every Saturday, flea market.
Oh, the flea market,
She's got a thing at the flea market selling, so she's got her own business there, and she's making
amazing.
it. People are making it.
And these courses that Margaret's teaching, what are they? Media, marketing?
Marketing and media. So she does social media development. She does business planning. She does one-on-one, but she also does group sessions. I'm sorry I don't have the full list because they're very, very relevant and very effective. And I got to tell you, people come and tell us the stories. I had a bunch of legislators to visit 2 weeks ago, the week before Thanksgiving. And about 10 of our Central Vermont legislators came to meet our clients, our participants, and there were 3 different people who had started business thanks to Margaret's great work.
Wow.
A woman a Hispanic woman in Montpelier had a wonderful hair salon. An African gentleman in Montpelier also has a cell phone store, refurbished and fixing cell phones. I mean, there's all these what they call micro businesses, which are, I think it's 3 or 5 or less employees, and you're called a micro business. And this is one of the most important ways to get people on their own 2 feet. Great success stories and so much confidence building. That's what I really want to tell you is people come in our door in tough times, and they lack a security. And what I am so proud that we offer to people, and I've heard this. I found my way to Capstone, and Capstone believed in me, and I had to believe in myself. And that is a game changer for people.
Yeah.
And I see it in so many ways, whether it's starting their business, whether it's getting their first job. Some people, coming out of corrections and they're afraid they won't really succeed, and we give them that confidence. And it's worth $1 million, I'll tell you, to see the smile on their face and the belief in themselves. And most importantly, they're in their own home. Maybe they're in recovery and they're completing their recovery. They have a job. They know they can do it. And I'll tell you what else. Breaking the generational cycle of poverty. When I meet families who, through our Head Start, so another major flagship program of ours is Head Start. That's early ed for kiddos and families 0 to 5, and right here on Brook Street, down the road from our offices, from here, we have 4 different classrooms. 2 classrooms with kiddos 0 to 3, and then 2 from 4 and 5-year-olds. But also on the top floor, we have a program for pregnant and parenting teens. And that family literacy program helps young people who may otherwise have dropped out of high school. They get their high school diploma at a timeline that works for them with the kind of teaching that they need. And also they get supports as new families. They have childcare and they have parenting support, lactation support, whatever they need. So we really are trying to help the whole family. The kiddos in our childcare, the families who often need support, whether it's at the food shelf or helping them get into different programs, and then really becoming financially secure and breaking that generational cycle of poverty. That's the thing that we are really all about.
See, so much of this is new to my ears, and that's part of the reason why I was like, man, I got to get these guys on the show, because Capstone's doing so much more than I think, anyway, most of us are aware of. I mean, I wasn't aware of.
I've been in public service for 30 years, and I wasn't aware. So I think you're right, and I so appreciate you bringing us on air, because that's the story I want to tell is, I think people sometimes throw up their hands. What do we do with people who are in poverty? What are we going to do to change the story? And guess what? I know it now so clearly. Poverty is not permanent. There are programs that help people. That's what everybody wants. They want everyone to be in. Hashtag.
That's a great hashtag right there.
Permanent. And that's what we're doing. I had no idea. Even Head Start alone, I didn't understand. It's a very interesting program. There's lots of aspects. We have center-based care here in Barre, also in Morrisville. But we also have home visitors who go to folks who may be actually in their homes, some of whom, unfortunately, more and more of whom, 30% of whom are homeless kiddos and families.
Yeah.
So we visit them in their motel rooms. Or wherever they may be. And these are the women who I often hear the most inspiring stories, that people didn't have hope, they were afraid, they felt trapped, they wanted to be a great parent. They checked in with Head Start. And those Head Start home visitors do so much. They bring toys and developmentally appropriate crafts and books and toys and skills for the kiddos, but they also are there every week for the moms who also need that support and that kind of wraparound service. And to hear people say, she was my lifeline. And sadly, many, many of these stories are women in domestic violence situations who are afraid and don't have the confidence. And the ways in which I've heard again and again are Head Start moms getting themselves on their own 2 feet just in escaping violence in their home. It's tough stories. It's tough work that the people who work for Capstone take on. And I'm so privileged to be able to share the story. But these folks are on the front lines, and it's tough work, tough stories. But I also receive the unbelievable power and inspiration of people who do overcome the tremendous barriers. We learn a lot about trauma and the impact of trauma, multiple traumas. Some of the kids, we evaluate them on the score, looking at the different kinds of traumas that they have in their lives, and there's 10 different things that you look at, and some of our young kids under the age of 5 have 8 and 9 different ACE scores, and there's a lot that we are working with, but we're there. But for us, I'm just so honored to be there, and thrilled to be focusing right now on the Fuel Your Neighbors campaign as just one of the many, many things we do.
Wow. And when I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking in my head that sometimes we get, even though we have great intentions and we try hard, sometimes it's just not enough. And it's so easy to get discouraged when things are compounding on their own. And it seems like we don't have, and I think we've all felt this way on some level, that we sometimes might feel that we don't have our hands on the wheels of our life, and that the unfortunate things that are going on, that they're picking up their own momentum, and we get easily discouraged and say, look at all this stuff that's stacked up. My child has a disability. I haven't graduated from high school. I don't have any real solid work skills. I don't have any experience. I don't have a resume. I don't really have any skill set or knowledge or what have you. And this is just going to be the way it's going to be. And Capstone really says otherwise. You guys show people you can't wave a magic wand and make everything go away, but you certainly show people you want to take this road right here. You want to take that road right there. Get off at that exit. You show people the roadmap of how, and you give them the tools, real tools.
That is exactly it. And for a lot of people, they aren't able to see that vision for themselves because of all of those barriers, just like you said. There are so many barriers, and financial stress is so harsh.
Yeah.
But imagine on top of that, not enough food for your kids, not enough to make it to pay for a housing.
Sure.
Or your house is cold.
Yeah. We hear the words cost of living so much. Mm-hmm. Not just in Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, New England, really.
Yeah. But it is, we have these extra costs like fuel and heat, which the warmer places don't have. And, we also have places like downtown Barrie. We don't have a grocery store.
Yeah.
And
you got to
transportation.
Got to move.
And I will tell you another time the many ways that we're trying to help make a difference in the world of transportation. I can tell you right now, we just received the go-ahead from the state of Vermont Agency of Transportation to begin a program that the legislature initiated, and it's taken this much time to work through how do we actually do this. But, another issue that many people are concerned about, myself included, relates to our changing climate. And there are many strategies to try to address that. And one of the things that people are focusing on now has to do with transportation, because in Vermont, all of the ways in which we rely on transportation and cars means that it's the largest contributor to our greenhouse gas emissions in Vermont. And so what do we do about that? So there's a big push for electric vehicles. And in the legislature, there was a lot of advocates saying, let's give subsidies to all electric vehicles. And I said, well, that's wonderful, but, and there was a pot of money related to the VW settlement. So how are we going to distribute that? I said, and can we think of a program for folks who are never going to afford that all-electric vehicle, but who could afford a used fuel-efficient vehicle like a Prius?
Right.
It's in their price range used, and if we can subsidize that, they can get out of the clunker.
Sure.
And just like when we weatherize a home, you're driving a more fuel efficient, you're saving on fuel, you're reducing your impact to the environment. So we are about to start off a program where we can help subsidize people to get into a used fuel-efficient car.
Wow. What's the time frame on that?
Well, probably we're going to get going in January. We have a lot of startup costs. We have to get the program all running, and we just got the go-ahead to go. So I will be back talking all about this program once it's up and running, because now that's putting money where, we need cars to get around. People need to be able to afford a car. And by the way, car payments are another thing that put people under.
Crazy.
And you know this. And one of the things we learned from our financial coaching is one of the women told me her story that she knew she needed a car to get to work. She financed a car. Guess what she was charged for interest? 20%.
How's that even possible?
How is that even possible?
I could never afford that.
No, but she didn't understand enough, and now when she went through the class. She figured it out, established her credit, went in for a refinance, 2%. What a difference in her pocket. So this is what's possible when you learn, you become educated, and you become self-sufficient and your own best advocate.
What runs through your mind driving to work in the morning on a typical day?
On a typical day, I was starting to say how much I still love winter, but that's because I'm a winter sports fanatic. And now I feel afraid. And the temperature is dropping, and our phones are ringing, and our waiting room is full. And I know the look on the people's face is fear because they don't have enough to keep warm. You know, an unbelievable story.
Throw kids in the mix. You know.
And they're in our waiting room too.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you are needing warm clothes, right now our waiting room is filled with donated clothes. Unbelievable. We got a donation of, I think it was 60,000 pounds of warm clothes, gently used, from the Mormon Church. And it arrived, and we offloaded it. It's in barrels, and we are, bit by bit, leaving it out for people. So come to Capstone if you need a warm jacket, boots,
Wonderful.
Kids, all sizes. So our room is busy. But I think right now about my own great fortune and privilege to go home to a warm house and to have enough food, to have 2 kids off in college. And I think now about how many people are left behind in this economy and how tough it is. And oddly, how prevalent poverty is. We've done a lot of studies of, how many people in our service area are in poverty, meaning in federal poverty, which is really extreme poverty.
Extreme.
We're talking a family of 4 earning $24,000 a year or less. Extreme poverty.
That's crazy.
And yet how it's sort of invisible until I go to work and I see these folks. And I'm so glad to be able to be there. I feel motivated. I feel so motivated because it's not right, it's not fair, and I know that we can get people on their own 2 feet. I didn't know that before.
Yeah. There's a lot of moving parts in that building at Capstone. When I've been in there before, you've got these critical departments, and they're all working together like the inside of a clock.
Yeah. Well, they're all in there different. Another program we haven't even mentioned is our weatherization. And it relates to our fuel program. So we have, again, this has federal and state funding primarily. So we aren't raising money for this program. But what we can do, and you'll see our trucks, Capstone trucks out there. You see our trucks. They're going to people's home, income eligible, and literally insulating and putting a more efficient appliances where possible into homes that otherwise the heat is going out the door. So when we can better insulate attics and basements, we have such an impact. Sometimes the fuel bills are literally cut in half, so they won't have to come to our doors for their tank to fill up. Not half as often, anyway.
Yes.
But let me tell you this story, and it was a story told to me by a guy who had gone on a tour the year before of our weatherization program. And he had seen one home. The floor was, it was a basement floor, and it was dirt. But what worried him was that he put his finger through a pipe, meaning that pipe had holes. And when that's happening, and upstairs there are kids running around, the air quality in that home, the fact that we are getting new furnaces, insulation, new clean piping, it is not just cutting the fuel costs in half, it is making a healthier home. He told me about going across the road to visit a woman who had had her home weatherized the year before, an older woman. And he said, it was so strange. She brought me up to her bedroom, and she said, now I can sleep in the winter here. And he said, what do you mean? Where were you sleeping before? And she took his hand and took him back downstairs into her kitchen, and she opened her oven, And she said, I slept right here on the floor next to the oven. That's what's going on out there, and we don't know it. And it's happening all around us. Heard a story today about a man who was nicely dressed, although clearly not a man of means, had brought in his neighbor who he knew wouldn't come in by herself, lived alone, needed fuel, needed our heating assistance. But for that neighbor, looking out for the neighbor, she would not have come in. FuelYourNeighbors.org helps you support your neighbors. And that's really what this all comes down to. And you said that before. This is about Vermonters helping Vermonters. And I know that Vermonters don't want anyone to go hungry or cold.
Yeah.
Least of all, older Vermonters and kiddos.
There's so many stories that we both don't even know about. Could be folks watching right now that have their own story to share that for whatever reason, pride kind of is a tough thing too to deal with, and that at times I think can be our biggest disease, if you will, is pride. You've got to lose the pride, and if you're overwhelmed, you're not sure, maybe you need help in all departments. What happens to someone when they walk through the doors of Capstone right here in the Granite City? First time they walk in, what happens? Who do they talk to?
Well, we have always someone at our front desk saying, how can I help you?
And what if they just don't even know where to begin?
Then we start to talk to them, and we give them time and space to share their stories. And I think what you really have shared eloquently what is so difficult. Shame, pride, embarrassment, and they feel overwhelmed. And one of the things that I'm so pleased to learn really about Capstone, and we did a very engaging strategic planning process. We did surveys and interviews, and we had an event where we brought our partners, we brought our staff and board, and we brought our participants, actually paid people to come and be with us for a day. And our Community Kitchen Academy fed us. But I really got to meet and learn from our participants. And one of the many things that I learned was what they valued about Capstone, because the exercise was something called appreciative inquiry, where you do strength-based analyzing about what is it that you do well, and how can you lift up what you do well to do even better. And I learned that what we do well is treat people with respect and dignity. Just to your question, what greets them? And for people who feel shame, who the message in the world out there isn't respect and dignity a lot of the time.
That's right.
Is a haven for them. And I heard it again and again, that we meet people where they are in their journey, we give them tools to walk, and we help them vision a brighter future. And most of the people coming in our door have a better tomorrow. And, it's really our donations that we receive, the support we receive from neighbors, that allows us to do this.
To do that. It has to be. It has to be. And without Fuel Your Neighbors, without this campaign,
we would have to say no to people.
Right.
If they didn't meet these federal guidelines, or
exactly.
if they'd gone through one one fuel tank already, we would have to turn them away. And I think we used to have to turn people away. And our goal is to not have to say no to someone who is deserving and eligible for this fuel or this heat. And the stories are tough. But it's much harder to have to say no to anyone, and we really try to avoid that.
It's got to be, I can't imagine being in your position, seeing what you see, and driving home at the end of the night. It must be replaying in your mind an awful lot, especially the elderly and the children.
It does. It replays a lot, and I keep going back to the stories of success and how inspiring they are, and how grateful I am that we, Capstone, are there. And it's not just us. There's all kinds of organizations doing tremendous work out there. I've just never been as exposed to the need as I am now. And I think that's the biggest education that I've had over this year. I've certainly thought a lot, and I've read the numbers and the data, and you know that I ran for governor, and I had an extraordinary year meeting people all over Vermont. But to now every day to see not just the numbers but the complexity.
Sure.
Poverty is very complicated, and that's what's unique, I think, and wonderful about Capstone is, as we've discussed, we see the whole picture of poverty. There are organizations, thankfully, just working on housing, and we help partner with them. There are organizations helping with mental health, with recovery. We see the whole picture, and I think that's very unique and important because it's complicated, and you can't solve the problem just by solving one part of it.
Right. Wow. So well said. How was your Thanksgiving? Before I go
I
any
had a
further.
wonderful Thanksgiving with family. I'm so blessed to have the ability. Actually, I visit my family in New York, and I get to see both sides of my family. My husband's side of the family in New York City, and we spread between all these different apartments. And then I get to see New York City, which is
amazing
crazy
this time
and
of year.
amazing. And I'm always glad when I come home to Vermont.
Yes. Glad when you arrive, but glad to come home.
Yeah.
Right?
It's such a different world. Such a different world. And my mother, who's 90 years old, was able to be with us, and now she's home, and we'll be hosting Christmas in her house when all of the cousins show up, and we get a tree on Christmas Eve, and we go Christmas caroling, which is a tradition in my family. We still do it.
So cool.
We don't do enough of it. We used to when I was little. But anyway, I'm looking forward to having all of that wonderful family love.
So you were just in this storm coming back up north, huh? Driving?
I did. I dropped my son at the bus in Springfield, Massachusetts, and boom, it was a whiteout about 10 minutes later. And boy, his bus was delayed 2 hours. He was supposed to get on a bus, I think, at 2:30, and it finally showed up from Albany at 4:30, and it was the only bus that wasn't canceled. And it took him to Boston, and supposed to get to Boston at 6:30, got there at 8:30. So a long way home, and that
so
was
you were
kinda how
driving.
ours was.
You were 91 north, getting home in that storm last night.
Yes, and it was a white knuckle drive, but I've got my studded snow tires.
Yeah.
I've learned my lesson because I don't have a 4-wheel drive, but I've got great tires. And it was one of those 30 mile an hour, 40, maybe get up to 50, and then somebody goes flying by you, and all of a sudden you can't see anything, not even the taillights ahead of you. It was one of those nights.
Wow.
Winter's here. Winter's here.
It sure is. I just drove from Barrie up over the Orange Heights, and that was enough white knuckles for me. But we're finally getting the blood back in our fingers now.
Oh, yeah. I had about 4 hours of that drive. That's pretty
incredible.
surprising because I was like, no big deal. But then I remembered it can go on.
Wow.
But I'm always glad to be home in Vermont.
Yeah. So tomorrow is the big day. This is the beginning of this campaign called Fuel Your Neighbors through Capstone Community Action.
You got it. And we are hoping to raise $200,000 in the next $200,000
in 100
to keep
days.
people from going cold or hungry this winter in 100 days. And we are powered by VSECU and The Alchemist tomorrow on Giving Tuesday, who will double your donation. So
tomorrow
donate.
only, they'll double the donation.
That's
but
right.
The campaign goes for 100 days right into March. But please, if you can, make a donation. It's so easy to do it. Get on capstonevt.org.
FuelYourNeighbors.org.
FuelYourNeighbors.org, and you can make a safe and secure donation right there. What if someone wants to walk through the door?
We will take your donation, cash, check, or credit card, any way you'd like to share.
Wow.
And we really rely on you. We appreciate you, our supporters, and, of course, we care so deeply about our neighbors, and I know you do too.
Wow. So, again, it'll be matched dollar for dollar tomorrow only. if you can
Right.
make a donation.
That's right.
So you make a $50 donation, Capstone's going to get $100.
That's right.
Thanks to The Alchemist
and
and
really,
VSCCU.
that's what we figure is going to be putting heat in the tank for a month.
Wow.
Help someone stay warm for a month with a $50 donation, or help someone have enough food for a week with a $25 donation, which turns into $50.
Wow. You all are doing yeoman's work.
Thank you.
And
I'm really proud, and I agree with you.
You should
the
be.
People of Capstone Community Action are lifesavers and game changers, and we're going to keep fueling them, and most of all, keeping our neighbors from going hungry or cold this winter.
final question. You know what I'm going to ask you. You going to run for governor again?
No, I'm loving my job. I am right here.
All
Here in Berry City.
Okay. Sue Minter with us, the executive director of Capstone Community Action, tonight talking about the Fuel Your Neighbors program, which is tomorrow, Giving Tuesday. Please help out your neighbors. If there's something a little extra that you would like to do, if you've been out doing your Black Friday shopping or Christmas shopping in any way, this is one of those feel-good gifts that you can give that will really, really go a long, long way, especially tomorrow on Giving Tuesday, thanks to The Alchemist and VSCCU.
That's right. Thank you, JD, so much for having us on.
Thanks for coming in. I hope you'll come back.
I will, and I think more people will come back with the different kinds of programs. to tell you about.
Absolutely. I was just talking with an older lady that had some help doing her taxes. So
Right.
maybe
Tax
Liz
season.
will come in soon. And kudos to Brian and Yvonne and the rest of the team there. You got a great team.
We do.
It's
Thank
fantastic.
you. I'm super proud.
Thank
lucky.
you. Thank you for coming in here. Please, again, sneak back again if you can. And thanks to so many great sponsors that are supporting Aired Out, the podcast here at CVTV. First and foremost, Central Vermont Television, Tony Campos and Abu Bakar and my producer, Billy, Channel 192 and 194. Get yourself dialed into the community, CVTV723.org. Fly in the Wall Productions, Fontaine Forestry and Millworks of East Montpelier. They do custom orders, rough cut, plain, tongue and groove, you name it. It's all locally harvested lumber. You see this table right here. Every time you see it, you should think of Fontaine's because Mark Fontaine made it himself. A great, great family over there on Route 14, just below Bragg Farm. Project Independence, piberry.org. To learn more about what you might be missing. What a great program they have over there. Vermont's first active adult day center, a program that is just remarkable. They've been around since 1975, I think, and we're going to be over there broadcasting live and telling you all that they do. They've got an incredible activities department, but if you know someone who is maybe shut in a little bit or maybe needs to just get out, this is the place to do it, right here in Barrie. Project Independence. They're just amazing, all part of the Gifford Retirement Communities, their partnership right there on North Main Street. So sneak in there if you can. If you'd like to check them out, maybe call ahead, get in touch with them and schedule an appointment. Enjoy a free lunch and see all that they do over at Project Independence. And Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance of Orange. I was just chatting with Jason Gauthier. Started out with a snowblower and a two-wheel drive pickup truck, and now he's got a four-wheel drive, beautiful 3/4 ton with a plow and about 50 customers. He's a busy, busy guy this winter, and he's going to be even busier this coming spring and summer. Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance of Orange. Find him on Facebook. And Wright Electric, Chris Wright, great guy. They are so busy right now. But, of course, if you get in touch with Wright Electric, they'll do you right. Trust me. Great guy and family. We love him very much. Wright Electric, my other presenting sponsor. FGB Theaters, you bet we're going to be there for Star Wars on the 19th. It's going to be a busy time both in Barrie and in the Capitol for Star Wars. We're expecting a huge line here. FGBtheaters.com for showtimes for all movies and to get your advance tickets for Star Wars and some of the other new flicks that are coming out. And, of course, CW Print and Design in Barrie, run by 5 ladies who get it done, and they get it done fast and right. Molly and the gals over at CW Print and Design, cwprintdesign.com. That's going to do it for Aired Out. Thanks to Sue Minter, Capstone Community Action. Busy night. We appreciate your time. Be good to one another. God bless, and we'll catch you real, real soon.